What is my plan for Axelar's native token called AXL in 2025? Well, even though nothing I say is financial advice, the answer is very simple for me. Even though I can't speak on anyone's behalf, I'm going to continue what I've been doing this entire time anyways, and that is dollar cost averaging. Now, some people may be thinking, why would you do that? $10 is currently around a 34x from here. Take a look at the pullback when it comes to the price. It's gone down by a lot. Totally aware of that. But then again, if I am, focused on dollar cost averaging, I don't know why I would complain if, let's say, the price was low. It's like, for instance, if I like my t-shirt, right, and then there was a discount, would I suddenly not like it? If I like the shirt, then it wouldn't make sense for me to think that way. But again, this is just my perspective. I'm not telling you to do anything. But then when I take a look at Axelar, I do like its fundamentals, and maybe again, when it comes to its native token called AXL, the idea $10, it wouldn't necessarily surprise me either in an event where if there was even a fully fledged type of altcoin season during this cycle. Market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply, it'd be around 10 billion, which is still around 8 times lower than Dogecoin's all-time high market cap back in 2021. But even besides all that, why do I like Axelar? It's because of its fundamentals, and let me explain why. Axelar is a Web3 interoperability platform. It's basically an open stack to connect all blockchains together. Now, the way to take a look at it is that when it comes to something like Axelar, it really does kind of remind me of something like Polkadot. Now, Polkadot, when it comes to its native token called DOT, it's just way more massive than AXL as of right now, but I think Polkadot and Axelar does share some pretty, I would say interesting similarities. Let me explain why. Axelar, I talked about how it's a Web3 interoperability platform. But then when it comes to Polkadot, it is focused on interoperability. It's focused on connecting blockchains together. Let me explain what I mean by lacking interoperability and why having it, I think, maybe could be hypothetically a good thing. It's because there's a lot of networks out there, a lot of blockchains, but then because a lot of them are independent of one another, they can't freely send data and value to each other, and as a result, if that is the case, then they lack interoperability. Now, a very famous example of this is like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Because they're independent of one another, they can't freely send data and value to each other. For instance, something like Polkadot could hypothetically step in and kind of save the day, so to speak. So I do kind of like that when it comes to Polkadot. And when it comes to something like Axelar, it's kind of like Polkadot in a sense, the way you take a look at it when it comes to sharing that interoperability aspect. Not like I'm saying Axelar is exactly like Polkadot, but then kind of the similarities in that sense. So if I like Polkadot, naturally I do like something like Axelar because if I take a look at AXL, again, the market cap is just way lower than something like DOT, which again is Polkadot's native token. However, even besides that, when I take a look at how there's supposedly over 60 blockchains connected with Axelar, which include, Moonbeam, Say, Cosmos, the BNB chain, also Base, which is Coinbase's layer 2, I take a look at Arbitrum, Ethereum, Avalanche, and many others, I actually find what Axelar has been able to accomplish so far as being pretty impressive. And again, I've seen historical partnerships when it comes to Axelar, such as Onyx, which is by JP Morgan, and as well as Microsoft and even MasterCard. So overall, I think Axelar, I do like what it's been able to achieve so far. Again, this is the way to take a look at it. Sure, it's not the biggest project out there of all time, but if I take a look at the journey that Polkadot has been through and how it's pretty massive right now, even despite the pullback when it comes to the price of DOT and also just kind of altcoins generally speaking, even despite that, we've already seen what Polkadot has done, right? So when I take a look at Axelar, it just kind of reminds me of like that a little bit, but with a just way lower market cap when it comes to AXL when compared to DOT. So I'm just still staying patient, I'm holding, and ultimately though, there's only one thing I can do in this situation, and that is just control myself. So I'm going to be dollar cost averaging, holding, and just waiting for a moment in time in which the market does maybe something, as opposed to trying to find the perfect moment, because I don't think I will. Whether or not the altcoin season, if it ever even wants to happen during this cycle, be it next month or it waits until March of next year in 2026, anywhere like within that timeline or even longer, who knows? It's going to be beyond my control. Again, I'm just preparing for a moment in time. I'm treating it like a marathon. It's not a sprint for me. All I'm doing right now is just dollar cost averaging, holding, and just waiting, and that's pretty much about it. But I am still looking forward to maybe what Axelar could do, but only time will tell, and I'm not telling him to do anything when it comes to Axelar. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.